To investing. And today we're going to talk about financial freedom a little bit, going back to how she got started and kind of how we met and where we're going. And she'd also like to talk about things that you could be doing as well on your own, because if she can do it, she says that you could do it. I'm not taking words out of her mouth because she'll go ahead and explain that to you as well. But welcome, Sarah, once again. And let's go ahead and backtrack just a bit to our first podcast if we can. Tell us a little bit about what we were talking about.
Hey, Elliott, and hey, everybody else. As we talked about in my first episode, we were talking about my savings and tracking of expenses also. And that was the premise of our entire first episode. And then we had decided we were going to talk about investments in this particular segment. And
Absolutely.
Elliott, you're absolutely right, Elliott, about if I can do it, anybody else can, because one of the things, I think it's in the book, well, no, I actually know it's in the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The author of that book explains that you learn what your parents know. And when I read that, it resonated so deeply with me because it's true. I wasn't taught like financial education in school, not in my earliest, grade school, not in high school, I learned a little bit about how to balance a checkbook, and get a checking account, but I didn't learn really, truly what it meant to set yourself up for, financial success and what to do with your money once you got it. And so as an adult, my quest has been to educate myself and to learn more about how do I manage my money? How do I save it appropriately and ultimately invest it so that it grows? And that's what we're going to talk about in this episode.
Absolutely. So segueing from saving to investing, what kind of things are you doing in terms of investing today?
Today, I'm fortunate to work at a corporation. So they have a 401k that I have invested into, and I max that out every year, actually. And I also have a Roth IRA because about 12 years ago, I switched careers and I took the money from that 401k that I had there and I put it into a Roth IRA. And then every year since, I have been investing the max amount into the Roth IRA. And I have a Vanguard account that's just what is that called, Elliott?
It's a brokerage account?
Yep, I have that, a brokerage account. And I put some money in there for kind of short term, the money I want to grow, because ultimately one of my major goals is to purchase more real estate as an investment as well. And I think I mentioned on our last call, I have a high yield savings account and a CD, but that's more for my extremely short-term money that I want to have for an emergency, and then also just the money I spend on a regular basis.
Very good. And I'll tell you, I'm going to put it this way, if I can, just for our beginners. So you took some money from an old retirement plan, you rolled it into a Roth IRA at Vanguard. The brokerage account is a taxable investing account that you use for those interim goals. So things that you and I have discussed over the last few years about investing more in real estate, pretty much that's where the real estate money is going to come from, right? So you're growing the money for this ultimate goal of buying more real estate, and we run it through the brokerage account to grow it faster than you can earn in a savings account or a CD, which I think is wonderful. And I know for the last few years as we've been speaking, one of the things that I've liked about kind of how you've approached things is that you are very open to learning and mentioning Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so I think you, like many other people who are perhaps a little frustrated to get started way back when, once you start taking those steps, you could see how things fall into place. Right? I mean, you're doing a very good job on your own, and the system that you're using, it's subjective. Say to all of our viewers, do what works for you first. Make it easy on yourself. As you track your expenses, save the money, and then invest and come up with other goals. And if I can, just real quick, just kind of put you on the spot here. Have we discussed or learned anything about the investments that you're holding themselves?
Oh, yes. I'm trying to remember exactly which ones I have. You kind of caught me off guard. I should know that. Oh, I have 3 inside of, okay. So let me back up. For my 401k, I have, it's a retirement. You're going to have to remind me of the terminology. I need to write this thing.
Oh yeah.
It's a targeted fund, fund retirement. So it's based on I put my retirement date into the system there, and the Vanguard's, so I have Voya and have Vanguard. Voya is my 401k. Vanguard is my Roth IRA. And I have both of those particular retirement. All that money is in a targeted retirement date fund.
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
Yes, yay. Absolutely. I tell you what, retirement date fund or target date fund as they're known. So for those of you watching, in your 401k, there are options. It'll say target date 2040, 2045, 2060, whatever the case may be. And those funds set up the appropriate allocation for your retirement. So you don't really have to do a lot of thinking about it. It's a set it and forget it approach, right? So no, that's excellent. Excellent. And I did the same thing with the Roth.
Elliott, the way I understand it with those two, with that retirement fund, is that it automatically calculates where if I'm retiring many years in the future, it'll have a more aggressive strategy and invest more aggressively. And there's more risk, but I have longer to recover if something does happen in the market. And so that's the beauty of having that set it and forget it, especially with one of those targeted date accounts, because it does the work for me. I don't have to think. It just automatically adjusts as I get closer and closer to that retirement date.
Absolutely. And you're right. The further out you have, the more aggressive the funds are, the less time you have, or the closer to your target date, the more conservative they become. So it's kind of like driving an automatic versus a manual, right? They'll set the pace for you, and all you have to do is monitor your contributions, etc. Oh, that's good. I mean, and I think as long as I've been doing this, that is a great first step, especially sometimes if it can be a little intimidating or scary or you don't know. When you start taking those steps, you really learn a lot, get more comfortable with it. And I got to say, over the last few years, seeing you go through that growth process, it really has been wonderful. So, thank you for listening to me. Not to toot my own horn here, but no, you've done a great job. Is there anything else that you have read along the way aside from Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
Oh, I've read a few. I've read like the Millionaires. What was that one? I've forgotten the name of it. Next
Store? The Millionaire Next Store?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I read the Millionaire Next Door the other day, and I've read this one a long time ago, but it was the 4-Hour Work Week. I picked that one up again out of one of those little free libraries.
There you go.
So I've read these things over the years, and little concepts stick here and there. But in my current practice of education and trying to understand everything, I'm watching your podcast. Giving a shameless plug here for Elliott.
Thank you.
And that's really helpful because you really break it down into pretty simple terms. There's also a couple other people I follow on Instagram, and I am really in today's world of being so busy and inundated with information. I do personally like the smaller snippets of easy to digest information. And so that's what I've been concentrating on most recently.
Absolutely. And I think that's wonderful. Learn the way you need to learn. Set up your system the way you need to do it so that not only is your money making money, but you're comfortable with and understand that process as well. And I've seen you kind of blossom in this area for the last few years. So hats off, congratulations. And any last words before we call it a day on this one?
Oh, I think what I've found helpful too is looking at the information on Vanguard or Voya. Both of them have a lot of good, helpful resources in there. And so I read those a lot whenever I'm trying to understand what I'm doing with my money or what I might want to do next with it. I've also reached out to them and asked them for help. That was something that it is so intimidating when you really are just starting in this process. It's hard to understand what all these new terms mean. And so I have found it very helpful to reach out to the individual, like the Vanguard, just call their help phone number. And hey, I want to set up a 401k, or hey, I want to set up an IRA. they can walk you through exactly how to do that. And they're very helpful, I have found.
Very good.
So,
and of course, you
my
can also
advice-
reach out to Touchstone Financial Education.
There you go. I was just about to say that. You beat me to it. My advice is to reach out to that's so important, I think. When you don't know something and you want to learn more, there's so much information available in today's world. I highly encourage everyone just to call Elliott. Call that person, call your friend, ask them what they do, and then follow that path. Because like I said in the very beginning, if I can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely. And thank you. And I'm going to say this too. One of the things that Sarah touched upon with Vanguard and them being very helpful, I completely agree. I think Vanguard is a wonderful platform for beginning investors. You're going to probably employ a set it and forget it strategy like Sarah does. Customer service is excellent. The platform is laid out very well so that it's less intimidating. And as you learn more, they do have a lot of wonderful tools as you become a more complex investor. So you basically grow into the platform. So thanks again, Sarah. You guys, this is number 2. Please check out our first one on saving and how she got started. We've got one more on real estate investing. As we had mentioned today, she is a real estate investor and wants to continue along that path. If you guys have any questions, please reach out, touchstonefinancialeducation.com. Shoot me an email. I'll respond within 24 hours. If you guys have any comments or questions for Sarah, also reach out to me on the website and email, and I will forward that information on to you. Sarah, I completely appreciate it, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Until next time, everybody.